that's a good question. How long do you guys plan on filming? Through what quarter you guys plan on filming before going to post-production?
So it's easier to kind of reverse engineer than it is to plan specifically, like in terms of the date for when we would end filming, because we have found filmmaking to be a lot like water. It fills the vessel that you give it. Right. So if you say, I'm going to create something in 2 weeks, you can create it in 2 weeks. Right. It may be stunted and limited, and you know what I mean? The work may reflect that. Or if you say, I'm going to take 20 years to create this film, you could do that as well. Right. So what we do want to do is honor the story, the opportunity, but be timely in the message, because you don't want to delay this thing too far out in advance either. Mm-hmm. Right. So the goal would be to be in a position where this could be distributed at the end of Q3 or the beginning of Q4 of 2022, right? So roughly call it a year from now, the film itself could come out. If you reverse engineer that and all of the things that need to happen in terms of post-production and also in terms of delivery, these OTTs are going to demand that there's a whole host of languages that this is available in, that there's closed captioning in each of these different languages, that the codec and the compression of the piece itself meets specific standards. So as you begin to kind of reverse engineer that, you're talking about months of processing there, plus the editing itself. Plus, we really are hopeful that the budget affords us to be able to do, live sessions of, orchestration, so that we're recording soundtrack to the picture like you would, a Hollywood feature. And so if you start to reverse engineer that back, then you're looking at somewhere in Q2 where filming is going to need to die down, and that you're only doing pickups for specific needs that present themselves in post-production. Now,
by the way, for everyone who doesn't speak Hollywood speak, OTT means over the top, which is streaming platforms.
Yes, right. Which is and your large streaming platforms, right? Mm-hmm. Like the goal is
top 5.
Netflix, Hulu, Apple, Amazon Prime. Right, exactly. Right. Like your big dogs. And then so that does that mean that production ends April 1st, or does that mean that it ends April 31st? Well, there's a lot to be said in terms of what story is going to present itself in that period of time. But principal production is going to happen over the next several months, the next 3 to 6 months, and then driving toward that benchmark that I've already talked about with regard to distribution. Now, if something presents itself in some crazy or wild way, we would want to serve the story, but that is definitely the goal here.
Yep.
And this is not a in 4 weeks answer, right? There's definitely more constraint to right now than that in 4 weeks that I'm sure that y'all have been hearing for quite some time. So.
Grant, I'm so curious. I'm so curious about this. Has the counterpoint, has the arch nemesis presented itself yet? Or are we going to find out that it was ourselves all along?
Right. Yeah. Right. It's kind of like in the Never-Ending Story, right?
Yeah.
Right. The young character gets to the end and then he's presented with a mirror.
Right.
No, the enemy that you have to overcome. Well, in this instance, we're really still identifying and welcome conversation around who can best present this fierce, opposition in an intelligent way, and not just a way that is barking and theatrics. So we still welcome that invitation from the community to help us identify that. I'm sure that we were going to, traditionalists will offer a whole host of conversation around that or whatever, but we really need somebody who is screaming from the rooftops that Hex is a scam. Here's why, how, and making an intelligent argument in that regard.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. We haven't found any yet, man.
Come on, community. Come on.
There was this other guy that wanted to make a
there's
documentary. He's still
the problem
searching.
is there's no actual empirical data behind it. All they say is it's a scam, and it's like that's not a lot of proof as to what and even the most recent YouTube channel that just came out with is Hex a scam, I'll tell you why. And it's like, man, you used an outdated article from the very beginning that didn't even have all the facts. Like, that was pretty poorly researched. So you're going to find a lot of that. That's the problem we're running into right now. If any of you guys can think of the antithetical, the protagonist to the Hex story, if you guys can reach out to me, if you guys know how to reach out to the film crew, that's great. If not, just reach out to me. I'll put them in touch with these people. I've got some connections within the community, not necessarily the community, but within the crypto space that I can get a hold of pretty much anyone that's a YouTuber, influencer on in the crypto space. And I've talked to some people that might shock you guys. So we can get them. That's not a problem. I just need you guys to point them out. I need you guys to show us who they are.
Give us better opponents, please.
We need better opponents. As Richard always says, we need better opponents. Give me a better opponent.